It's so nice to de-stress.
Brings us.
Step on us!
Let's light it up!
Into the wind.
Born of ice and frost. There's nothing wrong with reaping a reward every now and then.
I'm going in!
One with nature. As one with wind and cloud.
All hail! Access denied. We're way behind schedule. There's nothing wrong with reaping a reward every now and then.
Time to go. Wind Strider. A fateful offering. Fateful offering. Into the wind. A fateful offering. Follow the wind. Time to go. Time to go.
Next on the agenda. Over here!
The wind knows me.
Let the magic begin!
Clouds hide, and the birds come.
Everybody stand back! Let's light it up!
One with nature.
Surprise!
The more data centers, the better.
Everyone hold hands! The Temple of Wisdom!
Into the wind. Fallen leaves, adorn my night.
Let's light it up!
Nowhere to hide. Incoming!
Teamwork is dreamwork!
The wind knows it.
Committed to memory! Speed of light! Cut to the chase! Hey!
Let's light it up!
One with nature.
Incoming!
Hey! I'm going in!
As one with wind and cloud.
Make yourselves at home! Nowhere to hide. Sharing my knowledge. Everyone hold hands. I'll protect you.
Our bond is strong! Don't blink!
Hey! Let the show begin.
Dissipate!
Everyone hold hands. The Temple of Wisdom.
Cut to the chase!
Speed of light.
Following order. New punch. Into the wind. Fallen leaves, adorn my night.
Let's light it up!
One with nature.
No touching! Everybody stand back!
Clouds hide, the birds call. Into the wind.
Off we go! Adventure time!
One with nature. The wind knows me. Into the wind.
Let's light it up!
Born of ice and frost.
One with nature.
I see everything. Ink!
Don't blink!
Everyone hold hands.
Nowhere to hide. Incoming!
Got lucky that time.
Nowhere now!
Hi. I see everything.
Speed of light!
Good. Hey. Hi.
Cut to the chase!
Into the wind. The wind knows me.
No touching. Next on the agenda.
Let's light it up!
Into the wind. Fallen leaves. Adorn my...
I'm going in!
Blaze over.
Eat this!
The wind knows me. Into the wind. One with wind and cloud. One with nature.
At the right hand!
Share my knowledge. I see everything. Let's dance.
Our bond is strong! Incoming!
Hey.
Speed of light! Hey! Nowhere to hide!
I'll protect us. Oh.
Don't blink!
Born of ice and frost.
Everybody stand!
Into the wind. The wind knows me. Fallen leaves. Adorn my night.
This is long overdue.
Nice and spicy!
Into the wind.
Let's light it up!
The wind knows me. I follow the wind. Yeah. One with nature. The wind knows me.
Perhaps whoever left these behind was also fulfilling a contract.
Into the wind.
Off we go! Teamwork is dreamwork! Huh?
As one with wind and cloud.
Hey! Incoming! What a...
One with nature.
Ha! Everybody stand back!
Into the wind.
Speed of light!
Huh?
One with nature.
Ha! Off we go! Let's light it up! Why do they never miss? Teamwork is dreamwork!
Clouds high. The birds call.
A minute to memory. Make yourselves at home.
Huh? Benny's adventure team! I have failed you.
Race you! Race you! Race you! We're way behind schedule.
Ha!
The wind knows me.
Adventure time!
Blaze over.
Let's light it up! Off we go! I'm going in!
Into the wind. One with nature. Fallen leaves. Adorn my night. Time to go.
This is just my luck.
Race you! Out of the frying pan, into the fire!
I have to keep an eye on the deployment of guards at all times.
Chip! Chip! Time to go. Chip! Time to go. Time to go. A fateful offering. Time to go. Yeah.
I see everything.
Into the wind.
Grow, grow, grow. Incoming.
One with nature.
Speed of light. Hey!
into the wind. One with nature.
Teamwork is trim. Cut to the chase. Incoming.
Not bad, as far as treasure is concerned. Not bad, as far as treasure is concerned.
Into the wind.
Don't blink.
Who says there aren't benefits to a life of wandering? Time to go. Time to go. Time to go.
Let's light it up!
A fateful offering. The wind knows it.
Right. Everybody stand back!
As one with wind and cloud.
Incoming! Hey!
Who says there aren't benefits to...
Speed of light! Don't blink!
Time to go.
This way through. Get out of here!
One with nature.
Hey!
Perhaps whoever left these behind was also fulfilling a contract.
Time to go. Yeah. 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 Into the wind.
even better than I imagined. It's my lucky day.
I came here several times with my father when I was little, but stopped eating here as often after growing up. I hope the food here will be to your taste.
Oh, don't worry. We haven't eaten at a hotel like this in a while. Paimon's getting excited already.
In that case, I'll go order for us first. Please wait here a moment.
Ooh, everything looks so good. People in Fontaine sure know how to enjoy life.
Why, of course. Go ahead, try whatever you like. If the food's good, I'll make a group reservation for the rest of Spina di Rosula next time.
And if it's not?
Well, then I'll still bring everyone. Albeit with only one dish per table.
You, sure have your own way of doing things. Oh, we called this a farewell meal, but we could also treat it like a victory feast, right? We did just win that case after all.
Oh, true. Very true. In that case, boss, we'll have another 2 dishes.
Huh? Paimon didn't mean that you had to order even more food. of cases, do you think that the mastermind behind the serial disappearances will get caught soon now that this has all happened?
Well, we've certainly taken a big step forward, but I feel that's about it. We know that there's an organization that means to dissolve these young women, but we still don't know what they are really after.
If it hadn't happened right in front of us, Paimon wouldn't have ever believed that a person could be dissolved like that.
Right? Yet it was because this was such a preposterous notion that the investigation could never really move forward before.
Ugh. If only that guy could have finished speaking! We were so close to hearing who was behind it.
In such investigations, even the smallest step can seem like a yawning chasm if the trail of clues is cut off. To be honest, I don't have high hopes for any follow-up that the authorities might conduct. It's not that I don't have faith in their ability, it's just that a different perspective is required in some matters. It's easy to guard against and deceive a single narrow perspective. A shift in thinking is required at such times in order to produce a breakthrough, which is exactly why the Spina di Rosula exist. Those highfalutin folk are not all-knowing. That's why we exist, to seep into the cracks where filth falls through, where their watch fails them. That's the kind of problems we solve.
Seems Paimon thought things were simpler than they actually are.
It's all right. Well, this was supposed to be a farewell meal, so I doubt you have further interest in this business, right? Let's talk about something else. Like, what are your future plans?
That's true. We didn't have a chance to speak to her after the trial ended. It didn't really seem like the right time or place to do it anyway.
I see. So, your primary objective, which has been foiled so far, was to have a chat with the Hydro Archon. I've heard that there's a long line of people waiting to meet Lady Farina. I suspect you'll be waiting for quite a while, considering that you missed your chance today.
Yeah, we've heard that she's super popular here in Fontaine, and that it'll be tough getting any of her time.
Well, would you consider some more, unique ways? Perhaps even methods of, let's say, questionable legality?
Guess that's Spina di Rosula's boss for you. Chock full of sketchy ideas. Well, what did you have in mind?
Well, one way would be to infiltrate a performance troupe at the Opera House, only to abandon your act at the play's climax and ask to speak to her after the performance. I'm sure Lady Farina would be eager to see the ending, and would agree in order to finish watching the play, don't you think?
Could you suggest something a little more practical? This plan seems pretty hard to pull off. We'd have to go learn how to act, and acting's really hard.
All right, here's another. Find a way to conceal yourselves under her bed. Then wake her up in the dead of night and demand answers. Don't let her go back to sleep until she answers all your questions. I can personally testify that this one works. When I'm sleepy, I'll do anything as long as I can finally get some sleep.
That might work, but that's not really the problem. The problem is we don't want to get ourselves arrested.
Ah, valid point. I overlooked that part. I was just thinking about leveraging a person's desire for sleep. All right, no more joking around. Perhaps you could... Oh, I don't know. Cut the line when she's on a break. You did defeat her in court, clearing citizens of hers from false accusations. False accusations she had nearly upheld personally. I imagine that she feels quite ashamed about the whole thing.
You mean that if we catch her while she's on a break, she might be too embarrassed to refuse? Oh, that does make some sense. Why don't might give it a try after this meal. You know, strike while the iron is hot and all.
Huh? Paimon, did you drink my Fanta?
Was this your drink? Sorry about that. Paimon wasn't really paying attention and the cup was right next to Paimon. Would you like to order another?
No, it's fine. We're just about done here.
Alright. Honestly, Paimon wouldn't recommend Fonta anyway. It tastes kinda salty and icky.
Is that so? Huh. Well, in that case, we'll have to blacklist the Fanta here then. If we're all finished eating, then I'll go pay.
Yeah, we're stuffed. Thanks for the treat, Navia. Oh, so full. Paimon can barely float anymore. Nah, that would be so normal. You know, like you.
Okay. As for expenses this month, we're left with...
Hey, Navia, what are you doing over there?
Oh, nothing. It was just a meal, you know? Nothing the Spina di Rosula can't cover.
Let's get ready to try to meet the Hydro Archon again. Bye, Navia!
So this is goodbye, huh? Well, if you do encounter any other trouble in Fontaine, you're always welcome to contact the Spina di Rosula. I'll give your requests the highest priority. In any case, I wish you smooth sailing. I'll see you again, partner.
See ya! many people around anymore. Looks like that boat we took to Araneas might have been the last one.
Vache.
Looks like we're back here again. Huh? Traveler? Are you hearing voices again? Ugh. That's kinda spooky. Are you sure we don't want to come back in the morning?
Vache?
Hey, why are you still walking towards it? Huh? Hang on. Paimon can kinda hear a voice. It's calling for Vache, right? Hey, Traveler? Stop walking! Come on, wake up!
Vache, are you my dear Vache? No, wait. You seem to be someone else. Do you know Vache? Do you know where my love? Wait. Who am I? I'm very sorry. I fear I do not know. My memories feel like they have been washed away like a flood. So many fragments dissolved amidst the tide, never to be recovered. How much have I lost? How many things that I once held dear while on land have I since forgotten? Yes, that is what I was once. But now, I am but the consciousness of one who is lost, therefore. I do not know how I came to be like this either. I only vaguely remember being covered in light blue water, and then all grew dim. I also remember going to many places. I loved adventure, loved exploring places of peril. No matter where I went, Vache would go with me. I knew how dearly he loved me. But now, we can no longer go back. The pain of such parting. No. Our reunion no longer has any meaning. There is no way for us to create any new memories. The thought of me gives him no succor. So let it lie forgotten beneath the waters. If you meet Vache, tell him not to look for me. Perhaps that is so. As I was submerged in the waters, losing consciousness, I saw Vache above the surface. If only I could have comforted him, told him that I did not suffer. Indeed, I had felt a great warmth. Is that what you call it? Dissolving? If anything, it was a state of neither fear nor frenzy, with only an endless peace, like the water's still surface. I could also liken it to being a thirsty person who drinks water for the first time, and only then sees how they have lived for so long in a world of... I think I hear your companion. It's time for you to go, I think. Farewell, then. I am glad that you were able to sense my presence. Remember, if you see Vache...
Wake up! Come on, hurry! Navi is outnumbered!
Demoiselle, look out!
Dear God, it's a whole army of Gardamex. Chlorand? Quick, now's our chance!
I should thank you for lending us your sword there, Clorand. But before I do so, could you explain how you managed to show up here?
I followed you. It seemed to me that danger has followed you more closely as of late.
I believe that following someone without their knowledge is actually called stalking, is it not?
Mr. Callus's last wish was for me to ensure your safety, and I will not betray his trust. He would do the same, were he alive today.
Do not speak of my
Sorry, demoiselle. I was not strong enough.
Thank you for your aid, Miss Clorand, but do keep an eye out for your manner of speech. I believe we all wish to avoid unnecessary emotional harm.
Sorry, I did not consider your feelings.
Whatever. What else do you know? How did you come to the conclusion that I'd be in grave danger?
I doubt I know much more than you, but I believe that the mastermind behind the serial disappearances is very powerful. Your performance tonight will almost certainly attract their attention.
I'm sure they've known about me. To be honest, I'm shocked it's taken them this long to act against me. And what about these Gardamex? I thought only those associated with the Maison Gardiennage could control them.
None of these mecha have serial numbers. I was sure to check a moment ago. They are not the ones used by the authorities to enforce the law. I can only conclude that some powerful or wealthy party must have obtained them via illegal means, deploying them as a private force.
What? Your point being that they're out of Spina di Rosula's league, then?
Yes. Be careful, and
I will continue investigating, no matter what. We will bring the truth to light. That's... Regardless, thank you for your help today, Clorand. But, if you get any ideas, tell me first. I don't much appreciate being followed.
I do not think that they'll strike again anytime soon. So I shall stop
Right. I suppose that's the best news we've gotten today.
Demoiselle, I believe that Miss Clorand was being sincere with you. If we tried, we could have...
I know, she's...
Oh, thank goodness! Paimon thought we were done for! Those Gardamex came out of nowhere while you were unconscious, and Nadia and her gang saved us! Oh, and there was that champion duelist named Clorand who came out to save us too! We got lucky there. Paimon probably couldn't have fought them off otherwise.
Oh, come now. Forget all that polite talk. That wasn't really a farewell meal we had back there. Not for me, anyway. In truth, I hope that every meal we have together shall be a victory feast. As such, we're still partners. There's no need to thank me.
It will take 50 years for me to match Demoiselle's magnanimity.
If it were me, I would have joined the Spina di Rosula on account of her goodwill.
All right, you two.
Actually, Navia, how did you know that we were in danger? You sure did show up in the nick of time.
Well, to be honest, you're the one who tipped us off, Paimon.
Huh? Really? Paimon contributed somehow? Ooh, Paimon's even more amazing than she thought!
Yes, all thanks to you grabbing my drink by mistake.
How did that help?
After we parted ways, I was on the way back to one of our bases when I suddenly thought of what you said. That the Fonta tasted kind of salty and icky. Fonta only comes in sweet flavors, so how could it have tasted salty? The color of the drink, if I recall, had also been a bit off.
So the Fonta had been spiked with water from the primordial sea?
Yes. So, if you hadn't drunk that cup for me...
Spina di Rosula is preparing the grandest of awards for you as we speak for saving the boss.
Huh. Really?
I sent people to Hotel de Boer to investigate, but whoever did this left no trace at all. That's when I figured out that you might be in danger, and hurried here as quickly as I could.
But why would they go after us too? All we did was defend Linny in court and help clear his name. Ugh, now we're caught up in this mess too, aren't we?
Well, you did foil a plan that they were probably pretty proud of, and almost got their name in the process. Speaking of which, did anything strange happen when you drank the primordial seawater?
Well, it can't be a coincidence that the traveler fainted just now. He said that he heard that voice calling for Vache again. Oh, and this time Paimon heard it too, but it was real faint. Does this situation have to do with the primordial seawater then? Does that mean the primordial seawater raises someone's sensitivity to hydro when it's used on people who are not from Fontain?
That doesn't sound like too much of a bad thing, to be honest.
New intel? While you were out...
Well, let's hear it, shall we? Oh, that is in... Vache. That name doesn't ring a bell. I suppose he hasn't stepped forward as a witness in court lately. Since he saw that young woman dissolve, he was at least at the crime scene. But he never gave testimony or any information regarding people dissolving in the primordial seawater. Could he have been... Yes, thank you. This is very important information indeed. We will continue to investigate. Oh, you mean you'll help us?
Well, you did say that our farewell meal didn't really count. That means we're still partners. And besides, we're in this now whether we like it or not. You're not gonna let those people who targeted us get off the hook so easily, are you, Traveler?
Demoiselle, do try not to look quite so pleased. You are the face of Spina di Rosula.
You talk too much. Well, in that case, let's head back to one of our bases, shall we? I'll arrange a comment. We also have some plans to go over, and hopefully we can deepen our bonds as partners. But we'll take that one step at a time, I guess.
Don't worry, you two. With us around, our base is definitely secure.
The wind knows me. Huh? Tch.
Everyone hold hands. Incoming. Nowhere to hide. I see everything. Speed of light.
Off we go! Adventure time! Off we go!
Into the wind.
Hey!
Let's light it up!
One with nature.
Incoming! Speed of light! Hey!
Let's light it up!
Don't worry. Snowfall on this scale is no impediment. We can keep moving.
Adventure time! Off we go! Adventure time!
I see everything.
Teamwork is strength!
Clouds high. The birds call. The wind knows me. Time to go. Time to go. Time to go.
Hey! Don't blink! I see everything!
One with nature. The wind knows me.
I'm going in!
Into the wind.
Speed of light! Hey! With sword comes shadow.
Let's light it up!
One with nature.
Ad Astra. Thank you for Ad Astra.
Time to go. Time to go.
Would you care to... If you ever have it.
Just need to have patience. Oh, come on. Stay strong.
Brings a smile to my face. Time to go.
Everyone hold hands.
The wind knows it.
Venture! Don't blink! Speed of light! You give, you receive.
I see everything.
Let's light it up!
Time to go. Time to go. One with nature. brings a smile to my face. Time to go. Brings a smile to my face. Time to go. Time to go. Time to go. Time to go.
says there aren't benefits to a life of wandering?
Time to go. As one with wind and cloud. Time to go. Time to go. The wind knows me.
Incoming. Cut to the chase.
Time to go.
What'd they do this time?
Wish me luck.
Stand with me. I'll settle this.
Commit it to memory.
Don't blink. With Speed of light! Hey!
Nice and spicy.
Let's light it up!
Into the wind.
Ha!
The wind knows me. Into the wind. Time to go.
No touching!
Huh?
The wind knows me.
Wait, everybody stand!
Fallen leaves, adorn my night! One with nature. Into the wind.
We're Waitborn of ice and frost.
Ha!
The wind knows me.
Let the show begin.
Out of my way! Dissipate! Nowhere to hide. Incoming! Our bond is strong!
Ouchie!
Cut to the chase! Speed of light!
Into the wind. The wind knows me.
Let's light it up! Teamwork is dreamwork!
Clouds high. The birds call.
Eat this!
All hail! Access denied.
into the wind.
I'm ready. Fall before me.
I see everything. I'll protect us.
Stand with me. Don't blink. With sword comes shadow. I'll settle then. Sorry for the trouble.
Booba, get them!
The wind knows me.
No touching. Everybody stand back.
As one with wind and cloud.
Blaze over.
One with nature.
Access denied.
Teamwork is dreamwork. Let's light it.
The wind knows me. One with nature.
Hey! Make yourselves at home!
Our bond is strong. Speed of light. Incoming. Nowhere to hide.
I see everything! Let the show begin.
Dissipate. Hey!
The wind knows me. Into the wind. Clouds high. The birds.
All hail!
Everybody stand back.
Nice and spicy! You're toast!
The wind knows me.
Born of ice and frost. Next on me.
Fallen leaves. Adorn my night. Into the wind.
Let's light.
Share my knowledge! I heard you. Hey!
Our bond is strong.
I'll protect us.
With sword comes shadow. Lightning, Come on!
Break through me!
speed of light. Nowhere to hide.
I see everything!
Blink.
Let me amuse myself a little.
Don't blink. Hey!
Hey! Let the show begin.
Dissipate. Speed of light. Don't blink.
Make yourselves at home.
Stand with me.
Let's dance.
I'll settle this. Cut to the chase.
I'll protect us.
Dissipate. Speed of light.
I see everything.
With sword comes shadow. Lightning terrified. Stand with me. Don't blink. Cut to the chase. Speed of light. Our bond is strong. Get them!
Day. The wind knows me.
Access denied. Teamwork is strength.
Clouds high. The birds call. Time to go. One with nature.
Born of ice and frost.
Out of the frying pan, into the fire. Hey!
Get out of here!
The wind knows me.
Everybody stand back!
Fallen leaves adorn my night.
For Rex Lapis!
My blade. More into the wind.
Let's light it up! Teamwork is strength!
Clouds high. The birds call.
Nice and spicy.
The wind knows me.
Eat this!
Fallen leaves adorn my night.
I'm going in! Access denied. We're way behind schedule.
I'm ready.
One with nature. Into the wind.
Boba, get them!
As one with wind and cloud.
Teamwork is strength! All hail!
You cut down.
Everyone hold hands. Let's dance. Oh. Oh. Hi. Huh. Oh.
Stand with me!
Incoming. Hey. Ha. Yeah.
Don't blink! Hey!
Everyone hold hands. Share my knowledge. Let the show begin.
Dissipate! Out of my way!
I'll protect us.
Nowhere to hide!
Incoming.
Don't... Stand with me!
I see everything. Make yourselves at home.
I'll settle this. Our bond is strong. With sword comes shadow. Incoming. Hey!
Ready, steady, go! Hi, ho, hi. Hey!
Stand with me.
Ho,
Don't blink. Huh?
ho.
Cut to the chase.
The wind knows me.
I'm going in.
Into the wind. Clouds hide. The birds.
You're toast!
No touching. Let's light it up.
One with nature.
Nice and spicy!
Access denied.
Go back! Get
Into the wind.
Everybody stand back.
One with nature.
nice and spicy!
Fallen leaves. Adorn my.
Blaze over.
Eat this!
Let's light it up.
The wind knows me.
Teamwork is dreamwork.
At the frying pan, get
Into the wind. Clouds hide. The birds come.
Let's light it up.
The wind knows me. Time to go. One with nature.
Everybody stand.
Fallen leaves. Adorn my night. Into the wind.
For Rex Lapis. I'm a little low.
One with nature.
Teamwork is strength.
Clouds hide. The birds call.
No touching.
nice and spicy! The Temple of Wisdom! Everyone hold hands! Let the show begin.
Dissipate. Incoming. Nowhere to hide. Out of my way.
Let's dance! Hey!
Stand with me. Speed of light. With sword comes shadow.
Everyone hold hands! Hi.
Don't blink. Hey! I will not. Quiet.
Make yourselves at home! I see everything! Let the show begin.
Dissipate. Lightning terrified. Incoming. Nowhere to hide. dance. Our bond is strong.
The time for my coming.
Speed of light. Stand with me.
Come on, we can do it. No, let the show begin.
With swords and shadows. Hey! I'll settle this.
The power of flame compels
Don't blink. Hey! Our bond is strong. Nowhere to hide. Incoming. Speed of light.
Your journey ends here, Lord of Seth. Your sacrifice is ready.
Let's light it up. Going in.
Fallen leaves, adorn my...
Blaze over. Access denied.
Testing my patience.
Into the wind. Time to go.
Let's light it up. Everybody stand.
Clouds high. The birds...
No touching.
Again.
Dance with me!
The wind moves.
The show's only
Teamwork
just
is strength.
begun.
Fallen leaves, adorn my night.
All hail.
Think fast!
Get them.
Into the wind.
Come on. Focus. Nice and spicy.
One with nature.
Everybody stand.
One with wind and cloud.
You're toast. Born of ice and frost. At least you were here to watch.
In my line of work, come. Sometimes.
I'm all for work-life balance, but I think this is pushing it.
Hey, what's up guys? Welcome to a complete and updated Yelan guide. In today's video, we're going to be talking about Yelan, covering everything you need to know about this amazing character, going into detail on her best builds, teams, playstyles, constellations, and so much more. Yelan is definitely one of the strongest 5-star characters overall, especially as a support who can fit so many different teams and just be consistently a good option. If that wasn't enough, since her last rerun banner, we now have the somewhat new Dendro element and its reactions, which are teams where Yelan can shine exceptionally well. So a lot has changed with regards to her place in the meta, not only being good in her already existing teams, but now also being good with the Dendro element, which means that we have a lot to talk about in this video. So I don't want to waste any time in the intro. Before we begin though, I want you guys to know that I do stream most nights on Twitch, link in the description if you're interested. And with all that being said, let's get right into it. All right, so starting things off, let's talk about Yelan's talents and general playstyle, talk about what role she serves on your account and why she's such a great character overall. Well, first things first, the main part of her kit is going to be her elemental burst. Her elemental burst creates this dice around her that will constantly fire a coordinated attack of high
It's time to pull the trigger.
hydro damage whenever your active character uses a normal attack. This damage will scale on your Yelan's max HP and does have a very good scaling, as it will hit 3 times every single time. Because of that, Yelan can deal really high single target damage and apply a great amount of hydro consistently from off field for your entire burst duration. This ability will last for 15 seconds and have an 18-second cooldown, so only 3 seconds of downtime, and it has a 70 energy cost, which is something you have to build around by building enough energy recharge, and especially by pairing her with another hydro character if you choose to do so. Throughout your burst duration, addition, you will also give your active character a bit more damage, 1% more, increasing by 3.5% every second, stacking up to a maximum of 50. And so because of Yelan's personal damage and the extra damage that you're giving your active character, maximizing your burst uptime and using it as a core part of your kit is going to be essential. Other than that though, you have an elemental skill that is a pretty standard skill. It just deals a bit of hydro damage and gives you energy, but what's nice about it is that you can run around throughout its duration, mark enemies that you run into contact with, so you can run and try to hit every enemy around you, and then when you exit your skill by pretty much pressing any button or pressing your E again, it will then deal that hydro damage. Its cooldown is 10 seconds and scales purely on your HP, as does your burst, which means that stats like attack percent are completely useless on her, and you can focus instead on increasing your max HP, your energy recharge, and your crit in order to maximize your entire kit's damage. But obviously more on that in the artifact section. If that wasn't enough, you also have a passive talent that will increase your HP based on how many party types you have, and we'll talk about Yelan's best teams a bit later in the video in a very important section. Usually this passive is just a nice bonus, but it doesn't typically affect how you're building your teams, generally speaking. Lastly, it's also worth noting that your charge attack, you actually have a special one called a breakthrough barb, where Yelan can charge it very fast, 80% faster than a normal one, and then it will deal AoE hydro damage based on your max HP. This happens once you're out of combat for 5 seconds, it will charge up, and then you can fire it to help finish off some enemies. This isn't typically optimal and not usually used in your rotations, but it's a nice bonus thing to know if you ever want to finish off an enemy or have a little bit of downtime. Do keep in mind though that this becomes more important with constellations like your C6, but more on that in the constellation section. Lastly, before moving on, you should know that your talent priority is obviously to maximize your burst. It's way more important than anything else and the core part of your kit, but after that you can level your skill, and then you can either ignore your normal attacks or level them a bit if you plan on using your charge attacks. Last, I wanted to mention that you should definitely try to level your Yelan as high as possible, ideally get her all the way to 90, as she's a character who scales on HP, which means that levels are more important to her and her damage than with a standard attack scaling character, so definitely level her as high as you can if you have the resources to. Alright, now with that out of the way, let's move on to some more advanced information about Yelan and her hydro application. First things first, let's talk about how much hydro she can apply from off field and compare her to another hydro support like Xingqiu, who's been at the top of the meta for so long now. Well, as you guys may know by now, since it's Yelan's rerun, Yelan does have good off-field hydro application. Now, the exact amount that it is isn't quite as high as Xingqiu, especially if you don't have any constellations on Yelan, to where I wouldn't typically use her to replace Xingqiu, but using her alongside him creates a really powerful team of a ton of hydro damage and a ton of hydro application, whereas even using her alone as a standalone hydro option, as long as your on-field character is normal attacking, can oftentimes be enough hydro for most team comps. What I mean by that is the following. While Xingqiu does apply more hydro, especially with the 6 constellation, but even without it, allowing your vaporize carry like Hu Tao to consistently vaporize every hit, if you're using Yelan as your only hydro, not only will it be enough for teams like Electrocharge or Hyper Bloom, as long as you are, as I said, normal attacking, but for vaporize in particular with Hu Tao, who is one of the primary pyro damage dealers, vaporizing can sometimes be inconsistent, but you can still manage to do it as long as you don't apply too much pyro. What this means in practice is with a character like Hu Tao, for example, you're going to be doing one normal attack into a charge attack, and when you do that with Yelan, you can usually vaporize all of your charge attacks, which is what matters. The reason why it can feel inconsistent is because if you do any other Hu Tao combo like 2 normal attacks into a charge attack, or run her with another pyro character, or have anything that can disrupt your elemental application, then it can be too much and you can miss out on some vaporizes. With that said, when you pair Yelan and Xingqiu together in a team, while there are many strengths which I'll cover shortly, just being able to apply that much hydro allows your Hu Tao to do a more standard combo of 2 normal attacks into a charge attack, which means yes, she'll apply a bit more pyro, but she'll also be able to consistently vaporize without you having to worry about anything. While I don't want this section to be too confusing and too focused on Hu Tao, the conclusion of what I'm trying to say is the following. Yelan usually applies enough hydro from off field, but it isn't quite as much as someone like Xingqiu, which means that usually running her alone is fine and enough hydro, but pairing her with Xingqiu creates a very powerful duo that I oftentimes will recommend. But more on this in the team comp section later, where we will go into a bit more detail on double hydro and Yelan's best teams, generally speaking. Another bit of information you should know is that you should pretty much always try to weave in normal attacks once your burst is active to apply hydro as often as possible. While this may seem straightforward, it even means that in between your other characters' abilities, like for example other support characters or even your Yelan herself, if you use your burst, weave in a normal attack before doing like your elemental skill, if you choose to use your skill after your burst, or when you swap characters, you can do a normal attack and then use their skill just to deal as much damage and apply as much hydro as possible in pretty much any rotation. Alright, next up, let's actually get into how you want to build your Yelan. First things first, let's talk about the artifacts you want on her, both sets and stats, to maximize your damage and overall utility. Well, first things first, as we saw earlier in the video, your burst damage is going to be everything. Yelan's damage will pretty much all come from her burst, which makes the Emblem of Severed Fate 4-piece the go-to set for her and the best one pretty much by far for your Yelan. This is because the 2-piece will give you 20% energy recharge, and then the 4-piece will convert your energy recharge into burst damage, increasing your burst damage by 25% of your energy recharge up to a maximum of 75%. This means that your Yelan is going to get free energy recharge from the 2-piece and then just free burst damage from the 4-piece, since you already need a lot of energy recharge on your Yelan anyways, making this set effect extremely good. Now do keep in mind that while we'll cover exactly how much energy recharge you need on Yelan very shortly, even if you're on the lower end and are running a team that can get away with less energy recharge than like the average Yelan, this 4-piece set will still be amazing because of the burst damage that it gives you being pretty much second to none. Now with that said, if you don't have a good 4-piece emblem set or have much better substats on other sets, you can mix and match 2-pieces, such as the 2-piece Noblesse Oblige, 2-piece Heart of Depth, 2-piece Tenacity of the Millith, or 2-piece Emblem, all of which being viable and similar options, so you can pick the ones that have the best substats for you. Generally speaking though, I highly recommend getting a 4-piece Emblem of Severed Fate, especially given how much energy recharge your Yelan will need. In fact, now that we talked about the artifact sets, we can actually get into the artifact stats you're looking for and actually get into how much energy recharge your Yelan does want depending on your team. Now first things first, I want to say this highly varies. Genuinely, if you're running your Yelan as the only Hydro character on your team versus if you have another Hydro like Xingqiu, which is a very popular meta team that we'll cover later, or if you run her with Raiden Shogun, or if you run her on a Favonius weapon with Favonius weapons potentially on other characters, your energy recharge needs can vary by an insane amount. But with that said, here are some general ER ranges that you'll need. For a standard Yelan, you want around 200 to 260 energy recharge, with the range varying based on your team and playstyle. Do keep in mind, however, that a Favonius Warbow, which we'll talk about in the very next section, will not only give you energy recharge, but will also, through its passive, reduce how much energy you actually need, how much energy recharge you need to build, because it generates particles for you. Because of that, your range can be a bit lower, usually being around 180 to 200, but again, this all does highly vary based on your team and rotation. For example, you can use Yelan's skill once or twice before using her burst, which will obviously change how much energy you're actually generating. Lastly, if you use Yelan with another Hydro character like Xingqiu, then as I mentioned, your ER needs will be lower, and the same can be said with a Raiden Shogun, and that range in a double Hydro team is typically anywhere from 160 to 200 or 210 energy recharge depending on your playstyle, team, and rotation. I know this is a lot more variable than most of my energy recharge requirements, so I'm sorry if it was a bit confusing, but I tried to put some numbers to give you guys a general range as to what will work. So do test out what works for you. Just make sure you can use your burst on cooldown and have enough energy recharge to do that. Once you have that, you can start looking into more offensive stats like crit rate, crit damage, and HP percent. Those three stats are going to be your main ones, as Yelan is a character who scales very heavily with HP and obviously with crit. In fact, while crit is generally the go-to to maximize your damage on any character, with Yelan, while that is still often the case, HP is usually not far behind or about as good as crit, and so both of these stats are going to be very important to maximize. Because of that, on your sands, you're going to look for either HP percent or energy recharge, depending on which one you need. Obviously, if you don't have enough energy recharge on your substats, go for an energy recharge sands. It is very good. And if you already have enough, then go for HP on your sands. For your other pieces, while the normal build is to go Hydro damage bonus on your goblet and then either crit rate or crit damage on your circlet, depending on which one you need more of, there are situations where you can actually go for HP percent on either your circlet or your goblet. Generally speaking, I would recommend keeping your goblet Hydro damage bonus, and then for your circlet, either going for crit or for HP percent, depending on which one you kind of need more of or which one has better substats. For example, a HP circlet is usually only a couple of percentages behind a crit circlet. So if your substats are a lot better and you don't have that much HP on your Yelan, then going for an HP circlet is perfectly viable and is even what I run a lot of the time, depending on what sands I'm running. For example, as the more HP you have, the less it becomes valuable. Like for example, if you already have HP on your sands and good HP substats, then a crit circlet will be even better than an HP circlet otherwise would be. But generally speaking, an HP circlet is not that far behind a crit one, and an HP goblet goblet is also kind of viable. Just don't run HP on too many pieces, as the more you have, the less it becomes valuable. With that said, you typically want to go for around 30k HP in case you're looking for just a number, but obviously higher than this can still be very good, and you want to be maximizing your crit as well, as high as you can get it. Because of that, your main stats are very flexible, with the go-tos typically being HP or ER on your sands, hydro damage on your goblet, and then crit on your circlet, with HP not being far behind. Next up, let's talk about the best weapons for your Yelan and which ones you should go for. Well, generally speaking, I want to start by mentioning that everyone has access to the Favonius Warbow, which you can get from a quest just by doing the story very early on in the game. Because of that, everyone should have at least one Favonius Warbow on their account, and even at R1, this can be a great option for Yelan, meaning that everyone has a good weapon for her and shouldn't feel forced to pull for an upgrade or get another weapon. I really want to emphasize this because I believe the Favonius Warbow is greatly underrated, especially on Yelan, who needs a lot of energy recharge, as we saw earlier, and this weapon gives you 60% from its stats alone, while also giving you more when you crit and proc its effect for both your Yelan and your entire team as well. On top of that, the low base attack of this weapon is really not a big deal at all, as Yelan is a character who scales on HP and not attack. Because of that, this weapon is amazing and definitely is your best 4-star overall as a general option for Yelan. It can even be better than some of the 5-star options, especially if you need the energy that it gives you and your entire team. Because of that, I really love Favonius, but there are better options in certain instances like 5 stars or more offensive ones if that is what you're trying to build and don't need more ER. In fact, starting things off with 5-star weapons, the Aqua Simulacra and the Elegy for the End are both really good and can both be your best in slot depending on what you're going for. The Aqua Simulacra is your signature weapon, and it's the best for your Yelan's personal damage as it gives you a ton of crit damage and also a really good effect for Yelan especially that will just be way more DPS than any other weapon for your Yelan in particular. Because of that, it's a great weapon, but it definitely is not a needed one for a few reasons. First of all, the Elegy for the End in certain teams that are maximizing reactions, like for example a Hu Tao Vaporize team, can be really good and even potentially your best in slot on Yelan, as it will buff your other party members when you proc its effect by giving them 100 elemental mastery and 20% attack at refinement rank 1. Because of that, it can maximize the damage of your other party members. I do believe Elegy for the End is the best for reaction teams, and Aqua Simulacra is the best for your personal damage, and just a good option overall. Those 3 bows are therefore going to be the ones I recommend for Yelan, as everyone has access to at least the Favonius Warbow. With that said, there are situations when other weapons can be good as well, like if you don't have a Fav available, it's on another character, or don't need the energy. Because of that, here are some other weapons that can work. First of all, the Slingshot is a good 3-star option that is just a stat stick for the 30% crit rate that it gives you at level 90. The Recurve Bow as a 3-star option for free HP percent. Moon, especially with the refinement, that will increase your burst damage, despite the attack stat not being useful. Similarly, the Stringless with high refinements effect can be not bad for burst damage for free, and the same can be said with the Sacrificial Bow for extra energy, although generally speaking, Favonius is going to be better, but a high refinement Sacrificial Bow, if you're using your skill twice, can be viable. Other good options include pretty much any crit weapon, again, for your Yelan's personal damage, like the Skyward Harp, Polar Star, Thundering Pulse, Viridescent Hunt, or just really any offensive bow. Generally speaking though, since Yelan needs so much energy recharge, I think going for an ER weapon like the Favonius Warbow or the Elegy for the End is a really good idea, but if you just want to maximize your damage, then any of the crit bows I mentioned, or especially Aqua Simulacra if you pull for that, are going to be good options. Alright, next up, let's talk about Yelan's constellations and how good they are overall. Well, first things first, I want to say that Yelan is in a pretty unique spot in the sense that she has Alright, now moving on, let's get into one of the most important sections of the video, which is regarding Yelan's best teams. Now, while team comps typically define a character's strength, as you want to be putting them in a team that lets them shine and where they really have a strong role, with Yelan, while this is true, I want to first mention how versatile she is as a good off-field Hydro support. In fact, you can run her in pretty much any single team that needs a Hydro support, as long as you are normal attacking on a character to proc her elemental burst. This is true for not only any Hydro reaction based team, but also when you just want a powerful off-field support, as Yelan's damage is really high even when you don't factor in how good Hydro is as an element. So with that said, here are a bunch of teams and synergies that you can run with Yelan. Starting things off, you can run her as either a solo Hydro or a double Hydro with Xingqiu in pretty much any of the teams that we're going to be talking about. Now, as we saw earlier in the video, this double Hydro synergy between Yelan and Xingqiu is something that is very strong and usually recommended for Yelan's best teams. While I typically wouldn't recommend upgrading or replacing your Xingqiu with Yelan, I do recommend using them together or using them in separate separate teams if you need two good hydro appliers. Now, while I mentioned why they're good together earlier, as I said, the main reason is just a ton of hydro application, a ton of damage, especially single target, while also buffing each other's damage in many different ways, like notably giving a ton of hydro particles to one another, which alleviates how much energy recharge you need. So basically, running two hydro characters means you can run less energy recharge, which means you can build more crit and do more damage. If that wasn't enough, Xingqiu also has his second constellation, which will decrease the hydro resistance of enemies, and you also get access to the hydro resonance. Basically, just a ton of things that I even made a separate dedicated video on, a list of reasons why Yelan and Xingqiu are good together if you choose to run them in the same team. With that said, Yelan can be a good solo hydro option in many different reaction team comps, but can also shine with Xingqiu. With that initial information out of the way though, let's go over some example Yelan teams where she really does shine. Do keep in mind that a lot of these teams are very flexible in terms of which exact units you're going to be using. Starting things off, for a vaporized team, she shines exceptionally well with Hu Tao in some of Hu Tao's best teams overall. These teams include Hu Tao with double hydro, Yelan and Xingqiu, and then the last slot is a very flexible option of pretty much any good support like Zhongli, Kazuo Official, or even Xiangling. If that wasn't enough, you can even run Yelan as a solo hydro option with Hu Tao, but as we saw in those teams, your hydro application is a bit lower, so you just have to make sure your Hu Tao is still vaporizing by adjusting your combo. Now, while Hu Tao is the sort of staple vaporized carry and the best one to use with Yelan, you can use pretty much any pyro unit like genuinely even Diluc, Yoimiya, Xiangling, or pretty much any of the pyro carries can work as well if you want to use them. Other teams include Dendro teams, which is a big reason why I'm remaking this guide, as Yelan shines exceptionally well with Bloom and its sub-reactions of Hyper Bloom and Burgeon. In fact, pairing Yelan with a Dendro character is usually just a pretty good option, and while there are other options like Kokomi, Xingqiu, or other hydros, Yelan works exceptionally well when you want single target damage and just a good form of fast hydro. These teams are very flexible and can include Hyper Bloom, where you're using a Dendro character, a hydro character, and an Electro one, and are some of the strongest teams in the meta right now. This right here is an example team where the last slot is very flexible, but even if you don't have Nahida, you can use a off-field Dendro support like your main character, an Electro character to Hyper Bloom on full elemental mastery, Yelan as your hydro, and then the last slot is flexible. Here we can use Sucrose to be your on-field auto attacker, but you could also use someone else like Nahida to attack on field, someone like Alhaitham, which we'll cover shortly, Ayato, or so many others. The same can be said in a Burgeon team, where you would replace your Electro character with a Pyro one like Toma. If that wasn't enough, you can even play Quick Bloom, where you're proccing Quicken and Hyper Bloom, allowing your Dendro DPS like Alhaitham to spread, while also proccing the Hyper Bloom reaction through your other supports. For Bloom-centered team, you can run Yelan with Nilou, but do keep in mind that a team like this is very flexible. The last slot can be pretty much any character that is either Hydro or Dendro, but Yelan can be one of the better options for a strong source of off-field damage. To keep listing some reactions, let's talk about non-Dendro teams for a bit. Electrocharge Taser teams can work very well, and while typically I use a team that runs Beto here, when you want the highest single target damage possible, this is one of the strongest teams, as genuinely Yelan, Xingqiu, and Fischl can shred pretty much any boss instantly when you pair them with an Anemo support like Sucrose, who can help drive the team. This team comp is incredibly powerful, especially single target, and Yelan shines very well here. Do keep in mind that while a lot of these teams run Sucrose, part of this reason is because she can auto attack on field, but if you already have a main DPS, Kazuo does have very good synergy with Yelan as well, so do keep that in mind. Moving on, Yelan can even work as a replacement to Xingqiu in certain teams. While as I said, it's not the best option, if you want to run her in a team like for example with Raiden or with Xiangling, you definitely can, and the same can be said in even a freeze team with someone like Ayaka, just as long as you are normal attacking and proccing Yelan's dice from off field. Because of that, pretty much any reaction that wants a hydro character can use Yelan. Like genuinely, she's so flexible that I don't really know where to start or end in this team section. You can use her either alone as your hydro option, or especially what I recommend in a double hydro team, with her best teams being Vaporize, Hyper Bloom, and Electrocharged. With that said, she's just so good that even as an off-field support in a team that isn't even relying on reactions, like for example a Shao team, as long as you're normal attacking in between your plunges, you can even run Yelan and she can actually be a decent option just because of how good her kit is. And so yeah, genuinely Yelan is just a very flexible hydro support, really good at dealing off-field damage, applying good hydro, especially when paired with Xingqiu, but even alone in so many teams can be a very viable and strong unit, who I highly recommend if you have the Primo Gems for and if you want to build her. I really like her design wise and gameplay wise, and I hope through this video you found everything that you need to know about Yelan.
Water jet!
We're looking at F Snaker's Yalon. Let's check that out. Whoa! 42,129 max HP. That's pretty damn good. Let's see. Aqua Simulacra R5. That's a lot of money just in the drain. Heart of Death and Tenacity of the Millilith. 17 crit rate?
Impressive.
13.2 and 21 crit damage, energy recharge, and HP. What the heck am I looking at? Okay. Oh, what the?
Jesus Christ.
15 crit rate and 11 crit damage. That's where he's getting all that crit rate from. Jesus. And this goblet. What, dude? Constellation 6. Talents Triple Crown. 10 out of 10, Yalon. This is the... We're...
Gamers, the Hydra Traveler is the worst version yet. This is our first 2-star or maybe 3-star unit in Genshin Impact history. He is potentially one of the worst characters I have ever seen, period. And I want to talk about it. Now, if I was able to snipe these enemies at a distance, there is maybe a situation where it could work. But he is utterly useless beyond repair, in my humble opinion. And I want to explain why. So let's get started. His E ability can be tapped, and it will send out a little water jet, generate some particles. Or, after 9 hours, we can wait for the cooldown, and we can do this water gun attack. Now, obviously, I haven't fully built my Traveler yet, so it's like, well, the damage numbers aren't going to look great, even if I show you. But standing still for that amount of duration, instead of rotating through your other teammates, is a nightmare. And one of the only characters you would be able to pair with this unit to have any sort of synergy would be Xiangling, especially if she's got constellations. Where are you, Xiangling? Because with Xiangling, and with her constellations, her Pyronado lasts for like almost 15 seconds. But I think you need C4 for that to get that extra 40%. It is forever. But hypothetically, you could barrel stuff an enemy as long as you're shielded, and you could send it out while this thing is whipping around. But even then, that is copium. The Dendro Traveler has a lot of issues, in my opinion. So, can't infuse normal attacks or anything like that. They typically never can, so can't really be a main DPS. So, the Traveler is almost always relegated into a support role. Buffing your team, giving energy to your team, doing some different things like that. And they went on a little bit of a different route here. So, instead of his abilities being kind of quick cast, I mean, you can quick cast Aqua Crest, Saber. This is a long duration you can hold down, and it actually scales with HP. So you could technically build him tankier to get extra damage from HP scaling, which is different. We've never really seen that. But this talent lasts forever, it feels like. And until you start getting some constellations, it is also potentially risky where you're just going to get smashed and one-shot by some of the crazy enemies in the Abyss, and you're putting yourself at risk using it. It drains your HP as well, and so if you have another healer with you, they're...
Our main Traveler, the best character in the game, who's confirmed to be getting every single element playable, the character that can adapt into any situation, the character that's so OP that every single element that is released is gonna be shaking the meta of the game. Right, well, since this is a free-to-play game, the main character is actually quite different, especially when she was given for free, so OP isn't usually the word we get to use on her. However guys, having different elements given to the main character is quite a fun concept, because we at least get to look forward to it every single new region and see what kind of skills and gameplay is being given to the new elements of the main Traveler. And so Fontain is basically going to be arriving like in a few days, which is when Hydro Traveler is going to be making her appearance too. Where today in our video we're going to be looking into how good the Hydro Traveler is going to be. And a bit of a spoiler guys, I have to say it really did surprise me on what her kit was given. Now guys, if you are new to the channel, then don't forget to subscribe, as in collaboration with Paimon's Bargain, we're going to be holding a huge giveaway when patch 4.0 release, and I'm sure that's going to be a big chance for you to grab a lot of Primo Gem and pull for the upcoming characters. So be sure to subscribe and join my Discord server, as that's where the giveaway will be held. And then with that out of the way, let's just dive into today's video. So before we hop into the Hydro's Traveler skills and kit, I first want to kind of quickly mention back into some of her previous elements and see how good they have been. By the way guys, I'm going to be mentioning the Traveler as she because, you know, Lumine Supremacy is basically the way to go when you're choosing the main Traveler. So yeah, that's how it is. Up until now there's basically 4 elements already already. We've been through like 4 regions in Genshin Impact by this point. Ever since we got into the game, we was rewarded with the very first elements of a Nemo. Up until now, if you're lacking in like a Nemo character, then a Nemo MC should still be able to do you a bit of work. Of course,
Time to work. Quit.
This might hurt a little. Everyone hold hands.
Stand with me.
Go on, give me a go. You're not going anywhere. Put shield to the bone.
Lightning purify.
Hey,
No slacking off.
Busted. Things are about to get dicey.
Our bond is strong.
I see everything.
Quietly now.
Anywhere.
Busted. Game's up. Fun's over. Take it easy.
Sharing my knowledge. Committed to memory.
Take it easy.
Hey!
Quietly now.
Go!
Dissipate! I see everything. Everyone hold hands.
Here comes the catch. Let's go get ourselves some answers. Take it easy. Take it easy. Benny's Adventure Benny's Adventure Team, assemble!